Welcome to episode 4, The Gold Rush. Today's episode is taken from part 1 of Australian Citizenship, Our Common Bond. We're going to have a look at the second part of the early days of European settlement on page 8. In 1851, a gold rush began when gold was discovered in the colonies of New South Wales and Victoria. A gold rush happens when someone discovers gold in mines and waterways. Since gold is worth a lot of money, many people go to that area to try to find more gold and make lots of money. People from all around the world came to these colonies to try to make their fortunes. The word fortune means a large amount of money. In addition to English, Scottish, Welsh, and Irish people, Italians, Greeks, Poles, Maltese, Russians, and French people began arriving. They were mostly young men seeking work and fortune, or seamen who had deserted their ships. Let's say the key words together. Gold Rush, 1851. New South Wales and Victoria. Fortunes. Chinese people arriving at this time were the first large group of migrants not from Europe. Gold diggers would fly flags from their tents showing their nationality. Hotels would fly the flags of the languages that were spoken within. However, the mateship felt amongst diggers did not extend to the Chinese diggers. There were racial tensions on the goldfields, which sometimes led to riots against the Chinese. Chinese diggers were often viewed with suspicion and racism because of their different language, dress, food, and customs. There were around 17,000 Chinese on the goldfields by mid-1855. Laboring together, the Chinese miners would only work the diggings that had already been worked and deserted by Europeans. But they were still accused of taking the European men's claims and were often the scapegoats as disgruntled miners blamed their misfortunes on them. It was Chinese miners who discovered the rich deposits of gold at Ararat. The Chinese successes at Ararat caused jealousy and anger from the other miners as they were able to claim the best areas on the diggings. The pressure of anti-Chinese feelings in Australian society encouraged the New South Wales government to introduce the Immigration Restriction Act and regulations in 1861, reducing numbers of Chinese immigration and preparing the way for the first piece of federal government legislation in 1901, the Immigration Restriction Act. In 10 years, Australia's population more than doubled. Let's say the key words together. Chinese people. Migrants not from Europe. Population doubled in 10 years. During the gold rush, many people came from around the world to help build up communities across Australia. From the 1860s, people from Iran, Egypt, Pakistan, Turkey came to operate camel trains through outback Australia. Along with the Indian cameleers, they were referred to as Afghans, largely because of their similar dress and common Islamic beliefs. These cameleers helped to transport supplies across Australia as the first railways and telegraphs were built to link the growing populations. There were also Indians and Pacific Islanders who worked in the sugar and banana industries in Queensland, often for very low wages and in poor conditions. From the 1880s, workers from Lebanon arrived in Australia. Many were involved in the fabric and clothing industries, and Lebanese families came to own most of the draperies in country Australia. Have you seen this flag in Australia? Do you know what it means? During the gold rush, government troops could be very rough with the gold diggers when collecting license fees to dig for gold. On the 11th of November, 1854, approximately 10,000 people gathered to advocate for better working and living conditions. They wanted to adopt a charter of basic democratic rights, including the removal of expensive gold licenses and the ability to vote for representatives to the Victorian Parliament. This was known as the Eureka Rebellion. Following this, the Eureka Stockade was built at the Eureka Diggings. It was here that the diggers swore by a rebel flag featuring the Southern Cross to stand by each other and fight to defend their rights and liberties. Over the years, the Eureka Rebellion has become a symbol of protest and belief in a fair go. Suffragettes was the term used around the world for women who campaigned for the right to vote in elections. During the 1880s and 1890s, every colony had at least one suffrage society. Suffragettes collected thousands of signatures on petitions to present to their colonial parliaments. In 1902, Australia was the first country to give women both the right to vote and the right to be elected to Parliament. Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people were not granted the right to vote until 1962. After the early battles over land between the Aboriginal people and settlers, the Aboriginal people were made to live on the edges of society. Some worked on outback sheep and cattle stations for very low wages, which in many cases were never paid. The colonial governments set up reserves where Aboriginal people could live, but these areas did not allow them to live their traditional lives. For example, they were not free to hunt and gather as they wished. In the late 1800s, the colonial governments took away Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people's rights. They controlled where Aboriginals and Torres Strait Islanders could live and who they could marry. They took many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children away from their parents, sending them to white families or government orphanages. Many of these children experienced neglect, physical and sexual abuse, and exploitative labor, and were denied contact with their families. Such policies persisted until the 1970s. The issue of these stolen generations remains a cause of deep sadness for many Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people and other Australians, and was the subject of a national apology in the Australian Parliament in 2008. The gold rush changed Australia in many ways. During the gold rush years, the non-Indigenous population of Australia increased to 1.7 million in 1871. The first railways and telegraphs were built in the 1850s to link the growing populations. Large gold deposits were found in all colonies except South Australia. The economy was flourishing, and gold overtook wool as Australia's most valuable export. By around 1890, Australia had one of the highest standards of living in the world. Let's review the text in the second part of the section on early days of European settlement. Remember, the questions on the citizenship test will only use the words from the Our Common Bond booklet. Let's read it together. In 1851, a gold rush began when gold was discovered in the colonies of New South Wales and Victoria. People from all around the world came to these colonies to try to make their fortunes. Chinese people arriving at this time were the first large group of migrants not from Europe. In 10 years, Australia's population more than doubled. Let's have a look at a practice test question. Which statement does not describe the gold rush in colonial Australia? A. The gold rush began in 1851. B. The gold was first discovered in New South Wales and Victoria. C. Chinese people were the first non-European migrants to arrive in Australia. D. In 10 years, Australia's population reduced by half. The key word here is not. The question will give 3 correct statements, but we're looking for the statement that is incorrect. Let's explore the possible answers. A. The gold rush began in 1851. Yes, when we look back at the text, we see that the gold rush began in 1851. It looks like this statement is correct, so we won't choose this question because we're looking for a statement that is incorrect. B. The gold was first discovered in New South Wales and Victoria. Even though gold was eventually discovered in all states except for South Australia, New South Wales and Victoria were the first states in which gold was discovered. It looks like this statement is correct as well, so we won't choose this question. C. Chinese people were the first non-European migrants to arrive in Australia. Yes, after the Indigenous Australians, then people from Britain, Chinese people were the next group of people to migrate to Australia, and they were not from Europe. It looks like this statement is correct, so we won't choose this question. D. In 10 years, Australia's population reduced by half. If something is reduced, it gets smaller. We know that as many people came looking for gold in Australia, the population got bigger. The population actually doubled. So this statement is incorrect. The question has asked us to choose the statement that does not describe the gold rush in colonial Australia. It's not true that in 10 years, Australia's population reduced by half, so we can confidently choose D as the answer. That's it for today's episode. If you have any questions, please write them in the comments section. I'll do my best to help in any way I can. If you found this video helpful, please click on like and subscribe to help me grow this channel. This will also help you see when new episodes are ready to watch.